Hello and welcome along to 21st Century Football, a podcast about football since the year 2000. My name is Will Brazier and I am looking forward to this one, much like I love sitting down and playing a lovely bit of Warzone with someone to my left, Statman Dave. How are you?
Hey. Talking Warzone, big player here, top 2.2% of players worldwide. Will, what about yourself?
I mean, I've heard some stats.
He's talking rubbish.
I mean, I've heard some
show you afterwards if you want.
stats.
Yeah, I do. I don't believe you.
You know I've got talent.
If that is true, I'll shake your hand and say well done. But it's absolute.
No, you don't put your hand out. No, I don't believe you. After the show, get the starts up.
How are you, Joe?
I'm very well, thank you. Top 2% on Scrabble, the game.
On the app?
In the app, yeah. They can't be a better word master than me.
Really?
Give me a letter.
W.
Willie.
Wow, there we go. And that's a double word score, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we are talking about Didier Drogba today. I love myself at number 9. Back in year 4, I stuck a hat-trick against Parkside. Final one chipped the keeper. And this guy plays very much in the mould of a young Will Brazier. But before we get into our iconic moment, favourite features, the Wikipedia page is up.
Yeah.
And it's time to have a look at that all-important bio.
Hold on, guys. I was just getting my stats out.
Oh, of course you were. Of
Recording.
course you were. About Warzone.
Keep your stats in your pants. Let's get on with it.
Didier Drogba.
Tebele. Because Birmingham used to have a right back called Oliver Tebele.
Really?
Yeah.
Tebele.
It's got an accent on the E. It would be more Tilibi.
I'm gonna stick with my pronunciation.
Okay,
if
you
that's
can, mate.
Stick with Will.
Was born 11th of March, 1978.
Wow.
Is an Ivorian retired professional footballer who plays as a striker.
What the hell's going on here? Do you have to put some sad music underneath this?
He's the all-time top scorer of the former captain of the Ivory Coast national team. He's best known for his career at Chelsea, who he scored more goals than any other foreign player.
This is me now. Just 2 months later, he scored in Chelsea's 2012 FA Cup final win over Liverpool to become the first, as of 2017, the first player to score in 4 separate FA Cup finals. Big achievement that. He loves a final in the FA Cup. Fair play, Drogba.
And I've got, and this is actually a matter of fact, that Didier Drogba's favourite colour is blue.
Fair play.
So what a great time for him to join Chelsea.
Your favourite colour, Will?
Blue.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because of yeah.
What about you? Is it red?
No,
What
I
is
like a pastel pink.
Wow, really?
Dave?
Red, let's not mess about.
No, it's a nice pastel pink. Anyway, Will.
I wanted to start this episode with a quote, gents. We sometimes break it down with first memories, but here's a quote from Super Frankie Lampard. People talk about Thierry Henry, Wayne Rooney, the greatest strikers, but he is right up there. People that score in finals and in the big games, he is right up there. That's Frank of Lampard saying that, and he was a big-time player.
Yeah.
Didier Drogba, whether it was Millennium Stadium, down in Munich, Wembley, he was scoring in them games.
You always have villains in your footballing career when you're growing up as a teenager, and Drogba was that villain.
Was he?
Chelsea were a big team. They often competed against my club, that's Sport United. And do you know what? Drogba used to have, it was over a lot. Striker, clinical, could pick up the ball from wherever, drive it in the box, score outside the box, score with his head, banging tap-ins. What a player. And he played for quite a while as well. He was such a servant to Chelsea from the early sort of back in the Mourinho days and building up and up and up to the fact that they won a Champions League in 2012, which, he did wonders in. Scoring and I think he scored a penalty as well, and which Di Matteo was the manager. It's a bit weird. Could that kind of be mirroring what happens in this year's Champions League? You just don't know, do you? Interim manager, a manager comes in halfway through the season, wins with Chelsea. That's a side note. I hated Drogba, but now when we can talk about him and celebrate him, I like celebrating him.
I think for me, Dave, if we go back to the start of that Chelsea career as well, I was just thinking it almost felt like he was the first number 9 that they got right in this Abramovich era.
Yeah.
They spent the money on Mutu. We know what happened there. Shevchenko.
Hold on, Andrea Mutu was a Pro Evolution Soccer legend.
Yeah.
Not quite on the pitch.
Exactly. Shevchenko didn't work. And then Drogba was sort of, I think, 24 million at the time, which wasn't some of the biggest fees that they were paying. And I almost felt like it was, he wasn't going to be the number 1 striker. But he turned himself into that.
There was a few strikers at Chelsea at that point. You got to remember Drogba was signed pre-Shevchenko. Shevchenko was afterwards. One of the issues why Shevchenko didn't work was because Drogba was their number 1 and Mourinho wanted to play one striker. toyed with a diamond for a bit, didn't quite work out. But you think of his performances for Mourinho and his back-to-the-wall type play really helped out the rest of the team. It allowed them to escape, to get up the pitch. And I think it's that presence that Didier Drogba had, the power, the ability from off both feet. I think he was a properly complete forward, in a sense. So I don't think there was much weakness into his game. But when you look at his records, he didn't score a massive amount of goals. There's a lot of Premier League players that scored more goals than him, but he scored goals on the big stage.
Yep.
And I think that's the interesting side. And Will, is it time for a stat?
Dave, when you're here, it's always time for a stat.
When we talk about the goal-scoring records, obviously we've got to look at Drogba at the moments he scored, because I think that is the important side. Scored 9 goals in 10 finals, lifting Chelsea to 8 trophies. Of course, the big one, the massive one. After just coming wide against Manchester United in 2008, he had a really big chance in extra time. He stepped up in the 2012 final against Bayern Munich. And it came up clutch, back end of the game. We're talking nearly extra time.
Yeah.
Nearly added time, in the second half. 88 minutes, header from a corner. Iconic, massive moment. Didier Drogba stepping up like he has done in finals for Chelsea. One of only a number of players that have scored in the League Cup final, FA Cup final, and the Champions League final.
I like that header as well.
Steven Gerrard.
I like that header because it's one of them ones. It's so fast, and when it hits the bar and the defender, and it's just a bit bouncy.
Yeah,
I just love them sort of headers.
I think it drove Chelsea on. You got to remember that was Bayern Munich Chelsea in the Allianz Arena.
Yeah, unbelievable.
The odds were stacked against Chelsea, and I think that's the backs to the wall type striker that Drogba is.
Don't forget to let himself down as well, because am I right to say this? He gets sent off in the 2008 Champions League final, doesn't he? Don't he slap Vidic? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And he doesn't take a penalty. Terry is the 5th penalty taker. Drogba would have been a penalty taker. So he really let himself down in the 2008 final. Do you remember that?
No, well,
you don't remember it?
Yeah.
He has a bit of a barney with Vidic. He loses his head.
Right.
He gets sent off in the 9 minutes of added time. He goes to penalties.
He didn't take one.
Drogba should have been the penalty taker. Terry steps up to win the game, hits the bar, rest is history. Sit a bit. And
I wanted to wind back the clock a little bit as well and speak about these clutch moments, because I think he scored in the 2003 Carling Cup, whatever the iteration was then.
The 2005 League Cup final. He joined Chelsea from Marseille in 2004.
Yeah.
That was their first sort of win under this Abramovich era, wasn't it? Because you remember going into that game, it was Chelsea-Liverpool, and Gerrard was on the brink of maybe coming over to the dark side with Jose. But even then, Drogba's setting out his stall early on to win. I love the Carabao Cup. I think it's a fantastic cup.
Yeah,
but for them, it was crucial.
Put that in the garage at the back. We'll put that in a trophy room.
I don't want to be associated with that comment. But for me, that sort of like set them on the way, and he's leading the way with that as well, isn't he?
Yeah. If I'm right as well, I keep saying if I'm right because I think I'm wrong. No. But if I'm right as well, New Wembley. I'm sure it's United Chelsea in the final. He scores the goal. Chelsea win the FA Cup in the brand new Wembley. I remember that being a heartbreaking day.
Terrible game that was.
Ran with Granny Mary. She offered me a Foster's. I was only 14. I'd take it. It's the Irish in him.
You got offered a beer. I actually sat round with a group of mates and played a version of Monopoly called Share Monopoly.
What?
Where instead of towns and places, they're companies. And there's a device in the middle that actually has a live share price.
So this is building you up as a capitalist.
100%.
Yes.
You'd basically denounced Karl Marx at this point of your life. Shares, money.
100%. I thought it was Cher, the singer.
Share Monopoly.
Do you believe in good?
That was Pall Mall.
Oh, was it?
No.
What's Cher's big one?
That one.
What's Cher? Oh, right.
Yeah, that's Pall Mall.
I thought you said that's Pall Mall, and that says another singer. Sorry. Cher Monopoly. That would be an unbelievable Monopoly.
Yeah, great. 5 hours. Didn't open the curtains, and Drogba scored the winner.
Amazing.
Goals. Like you said, Dave.
Goals.
He scored them all.
He did score a lot of goals.
Big ones. Powerful ones.
Lots against Barcelona.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Just some good goals against Barcelona in big games. And I think that was, again, going back to the clutch one just in finals where he'd score these big goals, semi-finals. And I think that shows the character of Didier Drogba, that he very much was a leader. There's a lot of leaders in that Chelsea team.
Oh, yeah.
But he was very much one of them. Good spine, yeah. Powerful spine.
Do we think, because going into this episode and rewatching the goals and then, going through the achievements, do we think he is a tad underrated?
I think so, definitely. I mean, Frank Lampard hinted at it there in your quote.
Yeah.
He named some big players and he goes, he's amongst them. It's all good, these players that have scored bags and bags of goals, but to step up in finals is massive. And to win them trophies is huge. You know, they need players in them such intense moments, and he doesn't let his guard down. He bags them. He's underrated, you know, but I don't know where will he be amongst the greats when we talk about the Henrys and we have done on this show, the Agueros and the Rooneys. Do we stick Drogba up there? I think when Chelsea put a striker forward in that conversation, Drogba is that striker.
Yeah.
Does he get up to the heights of, you know, what we're after? I don't think so. But can I also say,
go on.
I completely forgot he went back to Chelsea. He had a bit of time away.
I forgot about this.
Yeah, he went away, maybe earned a bit of dough.
Yeah.
Come back to Chelsea a couple of years later and was playing in that 2015 era.
Oh, right.
How weird's that?
I can't remember that.
Yeah,
Mine
anyway.
forgets me. You've got a video for us, Joe, haven't you?
Yeah, I got a video. We're talking about Champions League and his impact in Europe. He obviously gets sent off in the final, which is, I bet he was gutted. And then we have an incredibly dramatic semi-final. 2010, Pep's Barcelona. From what I remember of the game, the referee has a shocker. Didier has a meltdown. Pep and his Barcelona go through to the final. Didier has an absolute screaming match at the camera. He's just livid, absolutely livid. And do you know what? Watching that game recently and looking back, he had the right to be.
Yeah, well, I think it's a handball, is it? A penalty?
There's a handball. There's lots of penalty shouts for Chelsea. Barcelona nicked one in the last dying moments. It's all over the place.
Well, the key phrase that comes from it is the word disgrace.
Disgrace.
And
disgrace, Dave? You're a disgrace.
For Chelsea. You know, we've also got to look at the other side of the coin. Pep Guardiola's Barcelona. They were slightly dirty. They played the game. But I think, you know, it's one of these things where it's a big moment in European football, and Drogba's obviously there. Chelsea didn't play well that day, if we remember. And, you know, as much as refereeing decisions do cost you at certain times, the performance levels were quite poor. Very different to their, you know, the Champions League run where they played really well defensively as well as, you know, offensively. So I think it's one of these things where it was more of a meltdown, reminded me a little bit of, you know, a Jose Mourinho meltdown. So you can kind of see why it happened with the players, but, you know, they move on.
Where would you say is his most iconic moment? Is it the Allianz Arena? Can we look past that? After everything he'd been through, after everything Chelsea did, that was the pinnacle for them, wasn't it? Getting that Champions League, that was all they'd built up for. And then, like you said, ironically, it was Roberto Di Matteo that wasn't supposed to win it,
and he did.
And he did it.
Crazy how things happen. Yeah, I've got to go with that as my most iconic moment for Didier Drogba. I'm sure we all might do it. It was the build up to, you know, the takeover, the money that was spent on the club. The Premier Leagues, the failings in the finals, building up to this unbelievable match in Bayern Munich's backyard with a manager who wasn't supposed to really be in charge. He hasn't gone on to do much after winning, scoring a goal, bagging a penalty. Yeah, that is Drogba's most iconic moment for me.
I think let's all agree on that, but is there anything else that stands out for you?
No, I think that's the moment. But,
the
moment. It comes at the back of a bit of a danger in football. Obviously, the money that came in from Roman Abramovich's takeover to Chelsea, it did win them their first European Cup. It won them the trophy that can put them away from the rest of the clubs in London. They are the only team to win the Champions League in London. And that's a big point for them. But it was money. This is the first super club, in essence of a super club created by an oligarch and an infinite amount of wealth that we have to be careful about. You know, as much as this happened and Chelsea fans loved it, there's still a flip side of that.
Yeah.
Where we have to be careful. And Didier Drogba obviously encapsulated that period. He signed early. He steps up in big moments and will be known for that. But it is this point of where football is going.
I don't think you like Drogba, mate. I get it in your eyes. I'm looking at you. I don't think you rate him.
Why?
I don't think you rate him. I really don't.
I think in a Didier Drogba
just because
episode,
Peter Crouch scored more Premier League goals than Didier Drogba.
Oh, I knew there was something he wanted. He's up.
Don't look at me like that. I'm just stating facts.
How many seasons has Peter Crouch played? Compare that. Do your little ratio thing you like to do in your head.
Why? I'm just giving you.
Drogba was a good player.
I'm not saying he's not.
I think
putting words in my mouth. He's a good player. Exactly, putting words in my mouth. Look, Paul Scholes scored more goals than
he keeps looking to the side, Will.
I'm not looking anywhere. I'm just
you gotta look forward now. Whoa, what you doing? If you got this far into the YouTube video, you probably want some more. So wherever you listen to your podcast, go and listen to the full thing. Link in the description, and we will rate the subject of this podcast. What's he drinking? Are we drinking with him? 5-a-side, and how iconic is he?